Take me back to when this is all first starting. Like, what are some of the early memories for you?
I mean, I did community theater as a kid on Long Island. I mean, that was everything. It might as well have been Broadway. It was the biggest deal. It was everything. But what I'm grateful for is that I went to public school in Jericho, Long Island, up while I was filming Sopranos. So I really had such a balance of, like, as I was building this little dream of mine, and then to see it come to fruition at the age of 16 when I booked The Sopranos, but still have, like, my friends and my normal life. I'm very grateful for that. And then even once that was all done and we just continued with the show and I moved into Manhattan, I mean, it was such an isolated experience here. It wasn't very Hollywood. I mean, this was before social media and, like, the paparazzi, so it was just kind of like, this is my job and I go home and I go to parties that Danny A calls me about, you know? So I'm so lucky that that's kind of how I grew up in the business.
Have you thought about how different it would have been with social media, whether it was you as a kid actor or just that show in general?
Yes, I mean, just as a teenager in general, but yes, I think it would have been much different. I also too, I mean, like, I joined Instagram, I think, when I was, like, in my 30s. So it doesn't hold as much value in my life. Like, to me, it's fun. I love to see people's pictures. It's a highlight reel, but, like, I hold no weight on, like, my followers. Like, I like interacting, but I think it would have meant a lot more to me back then.
Yeah, definitely. So when you think about your career, how have you built it out? How have you sustained success? Because Hollywood, there's a lot of ebbs and flows, and I'm sure you've seen it.
I've had them all.
Yeah, so what have those parts of your career been like, where it's the highest of highs and also the times where the phone's not really ringing?
For sure. They're rough. It's hard, and you start to kind of question what you're doing, why you're doing it, especially once I had kids, because then I'm just like, I don't want to, I'm paying somebody full-time to watch my kids just in case I get a job so that it's all of those adult things that have to come into play. I quit acting actually maybe a year ago, year and a half ago. And then I just kind of needed a break. I needed to kind of be off the hook, not be waiting for a phone to ring, not be hustling, auditioning. I just needed to see if it really mattered to me anymore. And I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of months, and I loved it, and I love all the time I was spending with my kids, but I had this, like, visceral moment where I was, like, almost lost my breath, where I was like, there's something still missing. So I went and joined an acting class just to make sure that's completely what it's about. I just missed, like, trying to figure things out. Every role is different. Every job I get, I find out something new about myself. I feel like I'm a better actress. And so my team, when I quit, weren't very happy about it, which was also nice too, because I thought they were going to be like, okay, like, Godspeed, good luck, get in touch. But sometimes you need to be reminded that people believe in you. And so that was wonderful. And then as soon as I came back, like, it's just the way the universe works. I just haven't stopped working since, and it's been great.
That's really interesting. Yeah, sometimes you need a break from something, especially for you. It had been in your life for such a long time. Had you taken professional acting classes?
No.
So that was the first time after everything you've done that you're jumping in. I'm sure people are looking around like, wait, Jamie's here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
that must have been pretty cool.
I don't know. I felt like the old broad in class. Like, everyone was 18, like, from whatever state they were at, just moved to LA. But every Tuesday I would be nervous for class, like, to put my scene up, and I loved that. I think what I felt like I was always missing, like, because I had success so young and so quick, and even though I was doing theater and performing, I never had, like, that acting class experience. It really made me realize why I want to do this.
And you're also around a ton of adults while you were doing all your stuff. I mean, you're 18 years old, and you're on the set of Sopranos. It's all grown men and women. That's a totally different experience than being in an acting class with people 18, 19, 20 years old.
Exactly, exactly.
So when we talk about The Sopranos, it changed TV, it was a life changer for you. What are some things we don't talk enough about? Like, what still sticks out in your mind about just your favorite memories of it?
Oh, God, you know, I say this all the time, but it was, like, to me, Sopranos is such a personal thing. Like, I can appreciate and understand now, after all this time, like, what the value of the show is to people, because I think with the quality of television that's out there now, and, like, the shows that I love and think are so amazing, I get how people feel about The Sopranos, and I also now can, as I'm older, appreciate, like, what I got to be a part of. But it was more about the people and the connections and, like, that safe place and that home, because I went through so much in the 10 years that we shot it. And it was my formative years, I mean, 16, 17, 18, all the way till I was 26. Those were my people, like, that accepted me no matter what, whether I whatever size I was, if I was married or divorced, whatever was going on in my life, like those were my friends that could catch me other than my family.
Right.
And that whole experience, just the great people that were involved, like they were great actors, but they were great, great humans.
Yeah, especially given everything you went through in your life, to have one consistent thing going throughout, that must have been a really comforting thing.
Exactly.
When you think about James Gandolfini, what are some of the big things that come to mind? Because like you said, like he's a great actor, but just as a person, like what are some memories you have of him?
The most humble, like shockingly humble, almost insecure talent. The biggest presence, like you could be facing the wall and have earplugs in and you'd know he walked in the room. You just felt him. The most generous, kindest, but like so respectful. I remember when I was going through certain things, like you could see that he wanted to ask, but he didn't ever want to pry. Like he never wanted to be the guy that was like, because I'm, you know, the lead of the show and the star, you know, you're obviously going to want to tell me. Like he was so respectful, and so just gentle and wonderful. I loved him.
Do you remember the last time you saw him or talked to him?
Yes, I saw him about 4 months before he died, and I got to tell him I was pregnant.
Wow, that's cool.
And spend a whole evening with him, and we just like talked and caught up in life, and he was just the best.